Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament 2020. We are still going through week number 3. We're going mentorless, and today we have a match of Stylesetter and VirtuaCat. And my name is ProfessorRenderer, and I will be joined by Yoko pretty soon. And let me get the stats up for both of these players. So this particular match, Stylesetter versus VirtuaCat, is going to be in. This is the 1-1 pool. Earlier on, Stylesetter beat out myself actually, but later had lost to where is it on the challenge? Hazuki. And then with VirtuaCat, he had I apologize. VirtuaCat had lost to Kadesden, but later won their match, and that was against. I'm looking for his name right now. For their name right now. I'm sorry. And I actually have a new partner with me too, and that is vortexofdoom.
Hello.
Whoa. To fill us in, we have a 1-1 match. Stylesetter versus VirtuaCat. Stylesetter had won against myself in the first round, but later lost in the match that I'm looking for his name again, Hazuki. But then, and also VirtuaCat had lost their match against Kadesden, but later won their match. And that was up against Space Poet. And we are underway here, starting off with the check. I did not see what the boots hint was. I couldn't catch that.
I missed it as well.
So I'll have to look back at the chat here once I pull that up on my side. We also got our map check as well. We have a crystal at Eastern Palace and Tower of Hera as being one of the pendants.
Just a piece of heart from Uncle.
And Stylesetter are going to kill some of the guards to make sure they're in the bomb pack, or one of the packs that
they
have
are.
Bomb. Yep. So VirtuaCat does have some bombs that they can use.
Chat confirming that boots are in the Dark World. So that's one thing that a lot of people don't know starting out. I know I didn't. Is that Dark World can also include smiths and purple chests, despite the fact that you turn them in the light.
Yeah, and that's considering the fact that you pick them up within the Dark World, and you pick them up through the Dark World and take them into the Light World. That counts as the Dark World as a Dark World check.
₹300 from the map chest. That means our runners will be pretty close to set for Kakariko, and maybe even have some cushion to get ready for a possible Zora check.
Yeah, well, picking up 300 rupees at the one of the first few chests of the game this early on, it's really nice because you have a lot of money to work with, and remember, this is a mentorless week, so they're going to go under their own play here, and without the assistance of any of the mentors. So they're taking what they have.
Moon Pearl.
That's a really good pickup. Very early on, doesn't really do much because we need to get that Dark World access before we make that kind of useful.
One thing, though, combined with those 300 rupees they got, they might make Zora and fake flipper checks a much earlier thing on our runner's mind.
Yes, that Moon Pearl does open up a out of logic fake flipper check by doing a water walk at the waterfall of wishing.
Got our Hyrule Castle key, so that means we'll have an item or maybe the map in Dark Cross. One thing it's good to note whether or not you've picked up the map already in Escape, because if you've gotten all the way to Sanctuary and haven't gotten the map yet, you can just ignore it because it's the most useless map in the game, even in Key Sanity.
Now, something that this early game is with the standard Escape is that, well, standard Escape is all about the execution, like the very early execution. It doesn't really, it's not like the biggest deal because it's such an early thing, but having knowledge of how to execute during the very first few minutes of the race is always nice to have. It gives you a bit more time and it makes you look a bit faster compared to how your opponent would play it out.
Yeah, I do, however, like VirtuaCat's usage of the prize packs, spending a little extra time to make sure you have enough bombs for everything you need. Makes for some really nice routing going into Kakariko. They did lose a couple seconds versus Stylesetter, but having 7 bombs versus 1 opens up an awful lot. Now 2.
Yeah, having more bombs going into the Kakariko plays is nice because it prevents you from having to deal with having to buy bombs or hoping to find bombs really early on in Kakariko, so you can get yourself bailed out there. But seeing that Stylesetter has the bomb, there's that bomb pack, opting to kill the ropes because those are considered part of the same prize pack as normal guards.
VirtuaCat getting just a little deeper into that prize pool and picked up the 4 bomb pack. Stylesetter's set up very well, though. Can get the back of Escape bombed open, Blind's Hut, and Kakariko Well. And if he doesn't find any more bombs, he can, which he did, so it's a moot point, but he's had plenty of money to buy some at the shop before doing the bombable hut.
So here's what's been interesting about what Stylesetter did. He bombed the top wall, while VirtuaCat opted to take the way that they came from. And that's a bit of a bit more time saved from Stylesetter compared to what VirtuaCat did.
And I don't believe we did see the map. I just missed it. So 2 bottles heading into Kakariko.
And Stylesetter can confirm the other map check that VirtuaCat did earlier, and the other crystal is going to be in Desert Palace.
Both runners skipping the lumberjack check makes a lot of sense, because once you're in Dark World to find those boots, you'll know whether or not Aga's been opened. So it's a moot point until they have Dark World access and the boots at the very least to access it.
The drop down giving us a shield, and I tend to go for that lumberjack check because I like to get that out of the way as quick as I can. Having more knowledge is better than less knowledge later down the road.
Yeah, there's a couple schools of thought about it. If Aga's your Dark World access and your boots are in the Dark World, it makes a lot of sense to just route in Lumberjack with your boots checks. And if your boots are very late, like Turtle Rock or something that has a lot of requirements to get open, you're a lot more certain that you won't need to have them, or that Lumberjack won't be locking anything. So we see the lamp though, and the Master Sword, which means that Aga is very much in play already.
In addition to that, we did find a bow and one single arrow to add on to that. So already we have access to Eastern Palace.
What I might do in this situation, provided I didn't get enough money from Kakariko, which after Bottle Vendor does not seem likely, I might go to Eastern Palace first and maybe take advantage of that rupee room and back as I'm clearing it.
Yeah, it's a dungeon you can clear right out of the gates, and considering that we have a lamp, we have an extra sword, and then we have that bow that we picked up. Sure, we need to get more arrows because we did pick up that one single arrow, but we have plenty of arrows. There's plenty of arrows within Eastern Palace that you can refill on, and the bottle vendor is selling some gloves.
Definitely will not miss those 100 rupees this season. And the powder. If the bottle vendor had the hammer instead of the glove, we could knock out basically all of Light World Kakariko right now.
Yeah, considering that we had 2 bottles right out of the gate, and we can do sick hit just as we're doing these initial Kakariko checks. The sick hit only giving out 20 rupees. But if we did find that hammer, I'd totally opt to go for that magic bat check. So there was quite a lot going on in that Kakariko, and VirtuaCat's opting to take a longer route through the library by cutting down the trees, or the grass rather.
Getting a check of the race game, see if it's something we want to go back for. Just a piece of heart. Not going to miss that. I often will just do the race game blind because I'd really hate in this situation to see 50 or 100 rupees there, and would definitely have picked it up if I did it blind. Just unfortunate to see those things that you would have definitely taken but aren't going to go back for. But in this case, it's just a piece of heart. There are plenty of those around. And VirtuaCat is going to make the play straight to Eastern Palace, which, as I said before, I really like here. Then you are almost guaranteed to have enough money for Zora. Will be guaranteed if they decide to Houlihan.
And in addition to that, it's a free crystal to get rid of. And Ice Palace is going to be at the green pendant thanks to Sahasrara.
VirtuaCat choosing to go to Sahasrara first. Not an unusual choice, and certainly not a major one in any case. But if you can full clear Eastern already, it's actually, I believe, slightly faster to go straight to Eastern if you have the gloves. You just walk up the right side, and then you come to Sahasrara after, and you do your save and quit there. And it saves a little bit of time just because the path is nicer to get from Eastern to Sahasrara than the other way around.
Yeah, Stylesetter heading over towards the mini Moldorm cave, while VirtuaCat is going to make their way into Eastern Palace. It looks like the mini Moldorms are part of the big prize pack with the 8 bomb pack inside of it too. But
It's a
it pays.
Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, but it does pay. That's nice to have the stick where you can open up a couple of interesting tricks. Of course, we already know those tricks by hand if you're any sort of familiar with the Goma podcast and stick it around most of the time.
Yeah, so far though, nothing that VirtuaCat is going to miss for their Eastern trip. With 6 hearts, Master Sword, bow, and lamp, you really have everything you'd ever need for Eastern, far more than you'd have in a vanilla playthrough. And there's virtually zero chance that VirtuaCat skips those South Shore checks. Still looking for Dark World.
That is true. Ice Rock Cave gave it out 50 rupees, and
Yeah.
Stylesetter might stick around for 5 trips into the 5 packs with the 20 rupee with the 4 sets of 5 rupees. That's worth 20.
VirtuaCat picked up the hook shot in the compass chest, I believe, of Eastern Palace, which is a huge find. That puts right before that, the Old Man and Spectacle Rock Cave were in logic, but now that opens up all of Eastern Death Mountain. So that might put the South Shore trip off just a little bit longer.
Yeah, because with the mountain, which looks very favorable, right? It looks pretty juicy currently, but of course we don't have access to Hera because we either need a hammer or a mirror for that to be a viable option. Stylesetter getting the 500 rupees by sticking around in that 20 rupee cave.
Yeah, and those 5 trips in there are very much why the play to Eastern makes a little more sense to me, just because you have a lot of chances to get some rupees. And VirtuaCat though did skip the rupee roam. It's not surprising. It's a very niche situation and probably won't bite them, given the 50 rupees in Ice Red Cave as well. Should be able to get Zora money pretty quickly.
Yeah, and VirtuaCat was going to set up for that quick kill, but did get hit and also had run out of arrows, so it's got to do slash strats to get rid of that.
Picking up the flute for their trouble. That the trip to Eastern paying off dividends. I assume we'll see them head straight to Sanctuary to activate that flute and can do their southern trip right after that.
Yeah, because this is going to be a lot faster for VirtuaCat to do those South Shore checks and also be able to route in that mountain after they were done.
So yeah, VirtuaCat showing very good adaptability on their routing so far. That's one of the biggest aspects to randomizer routing is reacting to the items you get and changing your plans on the fly. Stylesetter's route is very standard. Certainly doing checks that VirtuaCat isn't going to skip for the whole run. And it's probably not the biggest issue in the long run, but VirtuaCat reacted very well to getting that hook shot, using it to gain a little extra speed, getting the flute, activating that right away, and it's paying off so far.
Yeah, and VirtuaCat's flute is now online, while Stylesetter is making his way over to King Zora. Which only had a pack of 3 bombs, so VirtuaCat now starting their South Shore checks. and Stylesetter is heading towards the eastern area. He's gonna go pick up that hookshot, flute, and it'll be. It is gonna be kind of. It kind of feels. I don't know. I don't know how to react to that. And on one hand, Stylesetter is gonna get that stuff, but considering that Style had put this off in order to do the soft short checks, and to do the flipper checks with the 500 rupees, it did cost him time compared to what VirtuaCat did, as it paid, as you had mentioned, Vortex. It paid off pretty well for VirtuaCat going into that when they saw the opportunity within Kakariko.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that VirtuaCat didn't head up the mountain after getting that flute lamp and gloves all point very heavily toward the mountain at this time, and being still a little ways off of Zora money, it makes a lot of sense to head up there and do that stuff first. But as soon as they get out of Ice Rod Cave, they can just flute to the mountain anyway and put off Zora without farming any extra rupees. That's probably what I would do in this situation. And yeah, it looks like that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, it saves time compared to what Stylesetter did, and with that in mind, VirtuaCat had more money going into it. Which, if VirtuaCat had opted to go for the Zora, it would cost them a little bit of time, but not the same amount of time that Stylesetter did, because Stylesetter did 5 go rounds with that, and Stylesetter only needed 3.
VirtuaCat.
VirtuaCat, that's what I meant, yeah.
Another reason to head up the mountain straight away is if you made the play right to eastern and you saw everything pointing to the mountain, it makes a lot of sense to push your theoretical advantage in that situation. VirtuaCat would know that Stylesetter couldn't have had the hookshot and flute significantly earlier, if at all. So it would have made a lot of sense to check and see what that got them.
And as VirtuaCat started up their climb, they picked up the quick from off of the old man.
It looked like the silvers in Spectacle Rock Cave. It, as a purely theoretical thing, this is kind of a long walk, but given the bosses they still have to fight and everything, I think that these are an easy pickup if you know they're here.
Yeah, that is true. And VirtuaCat opting to not do the bomb jump across the Spectacle Rock hole. It does save them. It does save time if you know how to set up that bomb jump.
A little surprised they didn't pick up that 20 rupees, given that they're still looking for Zora money, and they have an unknown number of expenses after that.
Okay, so I actually kind of, as I'm looking at VirtuaCat now and seeing how they're routing it, I think not doing the bomb job made a lot of sense, because it puts them closer towards East F Mountain and the hookshot bridge.
Yeah, that bomb jump is not an easy bomb jump. It is certainly not as easy to learn as the Paradox Cave or Hera Skullwoods ones. It's much more precise, and personally, if I'm not if I might have saved and quit there over even trying that bomb jump.
And I know the setups for using the swords that you have. That makes the lineup a bit more easier. You have to rely on the tip of the sword and on the hint tile, And I remember doing that a lot during version 30 when hint tiles were always on, and the mirror was picked up in the
Mirror and shovel.
yeah,
And 300 more rupees. 600 more rupees make that. Wow.
Pays out. VirtuaCat not only paying out in money, but paying off also for this play too. So this now opens up Hera.
VirtuaCat falling on their bomb jump attempt, decides just to walk to the bottom, and that makes a lot of sense. If you fail 2 or 3 times, you've already started to lose time compared to just walking down and climbing up, which is the sure thing.
VirtuaCat taking a quick check of their map to make sure what the Hera prize is, and that is, as we had previously mentioned, the one of the pendants, not a green pendant, but just a pendant. VirtuaCat heading towards Spiral Cave, sorry.
Our Restreamer Oro in chat making a very good point that when setting up the Paradox Cave bomb jump, it's much easier to line up vertically. So like get yourself on the bottom of the bottom, or the top of the pit, I guess, bottom of the platform, and then set yourself up on that left edge. Much easier to avoid falling off, and there can be a visual cue for when you've actually started to hit that edge.
Me personally, I like to set up I know I got it whenever Link snaps to the corner of the pit. So
yep, that's and I always find that if I try to line up on the left first and then go to the bottom, I'm much more likely to fall in off the side than if I try to line up on the bottom and then hit to the left. But for now, our runners are just going to retread each other's footsteps for a bit. So now is a good time to throw them a follow, throw our Restreamer Oro a follow, our tracker BumRushBlitz, and ProfessorRenderer and myself.
And to give a bit of a recap here, we have a match. This is week 3. We're going mentorless, and this is the last of the Ambrosia weeks. And this is a 1-in-1 match. Earlier today, we had a match of Windfox 470 and Omegalistic, with Windfox taking the win over that one. And right now we're looking at the second match for the day, which is Stylesetter versus VirtuaCat in the 1-in-1 bracket. Or 1-in-1.
Stylesetter did take the Spectacle Rock bomb jump. Got it first try and did it very well.
Yeah, it's all about that. It's all about the lineup. For me, it's all about the lineup. Lining yourself up with the tip of the sword and the hint tile, and the left corner of the left side of the hint tile, is how I see how I do that particular bomb jump, and then I, of course, line myself up towards the corner and make sure Link's shadow is just directly above where I'm supposed to be bomb jumping over, and then just bomb away and then hold down. And to get back on my little thought too, this is Stylesetter. We had it earlier in the first round. Stylesetter won against myself, oddly enough, and then Stylesetter ended up losing to Hazuki, and VirtuaCat had lost their match against Cadesden, but later won in round 2 against Space Poet. And
yeah, being in the 1-in-1 group myself, there is a lot of fierce competition. in here, and this has been a pretty close match so far. The runners are pretty synced up. Stylesetter making the same choice that VirtuaCat did to just cut their losses on the Paradox Bomb jump. Yeah, VirtuaCat agreeing with WinFox470 in chat that the mirror is clearly pointing towards Hera. I wouldn't have been surprised to see either runner make an Aga play at this point. You're not. There's not a whole lot left. It's I think they have Agina and the Hera area, and no hammer and no flippers, and having that lamp and master sword really, and the hook shot to get to the Western Dark World. We'll see if we see some divergence after Stylesetter finishes with their first Death Mountain trip. Maybe just choosing to avoid a second one, and what the consequences of that would be.
There is also that shovel that we had picked up in Paradox Cave. That's also opens up the shovel at the dig spot.
Yeah, I would definitely check dig spot before doing Aghanim, but with that flute, you can just get right back there.
And personally, I would, seeing that I haven't found a whole lot currently, I would definitely just say, I would say probably leave out the Hera play, even though it looks really nice, because you're up on the mountain already, and just go for Aga.
And I didn't catch what was in the Hera basement.
It was a big key. And
and Stylesetter finds the mitts. That is huge. Aga averted for the moment. It could still very much be a logical Aga seed. We'd need either flippers or hammer to give us access to the Eastern Dark World, but provided our runners know their splash deletion or kern jump, that can all be avoided at this point too with our two bows.
Here's our other map check. We have Pod and Turtle Rock being our 5/6 crystals, and Thieves Town being the last pendant. Cat angering Moldarm there, but gets a poke out to end the fight there.
So VirtuaCat, while the Aga play or the shovel to Aga certainly made a lot of sense, I can't really fault VirtuaCat for doing Pendant Hera. It's a pretty quick clear, especially if you have the hook shot, and now they know that it won't come back to bite them. Though they have now isolated Ether Tablet and Dig Game rather badly, and we see the Ice Rod on Desert Ledge. Sort of wondering if VirtuaCat maybe forgot about the shovel. Especially with that flute already in your inventory, it can be very easy to forget.
And considering about the Ether Tablet, we still have to find that book in order to at least get the item there.
Yes.
But VirtuaCat did find something within Agina's cave, and that was the Tempered Sword.
Okay, VirtuaCat does remember the dig spot. And they'll have tempered. It could be a very long time before Stylesetter finds that tempered sword. Given that they have full mitts, taking another death.
and that was on the Beetle during the long hallway with the big chest the chest that opens up the holes. VirtuaCat getting their Titan's mitts, and it's gonna flute over towards Kakariko, and they're all gonna have to make that same decision. Do you go Skull Woods, or do you go Village of Outcasts?
With no boots and mitts. Well, with no boots and I actually think I skip Skullwoods right away. You do have mitts and flute. It's pretty easy to get back to Skullwoods anytime you'd like. There's a lot more checks in the village and going down south, so I think I like this play. It's certainly easy to defend either way. I imagine we'll see Stylesetter shortly here head to Graveyard Ledge. Maybe not. Yeah, I'm a little surprised that if you make the play to go check out Bumper Ledge, you don't follow up by continuing toward Graveyard Ledge, but
VirtuaCat picks up the Fire Rod within C-shaped house, and Stylesetter is going to get that right away as well. So Skull Woods looks a lot better after you're done with Thieves Town if you want to dive that.
yeah, I wonder. Ooh, that we find the boots in Brewery. That did not take too long. VirtuaCat opting to skip Thieves Town entirely for the time being. Probably might come back to it. I could see a Smith chain here after Dig Game, since they have the mirror.
And VirtuaCat picking up the fourth and final bottle from the Dig Game. So we have a lot of safeties to work with. And VirtuaCat is going to take do the Smith chain, and it's going to. So the one thing that the Smith chain won't let us do, obviously, is the hammer pegs, because we're looking for that hammer still, and that's pretty much it. And with this in mind, Stylesetter opting to leave after going through their Thieves Town. Found a couple of dungeon items, and I don't fault him whatsoever for skipping out on Thieves Town, considering that it's a pretty sizable gamble. Even with Ambrosia, if you find a lot of dungeon items, you have to know that the hammer is going to lock out that big chest, and we don't have that just yet. So it might be in the back of his mind when he comes back, whenever he decides to go and head for the back of Thieves Town, compared to like along the road.
It's certainly an understandable choice, but I'm not entirely sure how much I agree with the choice by VirtuaCat to skip the Magic Bat check with mitts and mirror and powder so early on. Since you have the flute, it's not as painful to go back to that Dark World portal as it is otherwise. And if Hammer was there, it's going to be a very long time before they have incentive to come back to that.
Yeah, personally, I would have picked up the Magic Badge once I did the Smiths, and that in consideration, because you're in the area right away, and I would do that before Purple Chest, and then just rather than the rest of the Purple Chest items along the way. So yeah, it's a bold decision from VirtuaCat that I personally don't agree with.
Yeah, it's not. It's certainly understandable because it really does suck to lose your portal there with no hammer, and most of the time it's nothing anyway. What I usually do with the purple chest, a lot of people think that you have to go straight to
What the heck?
this is something I have never seen before. So I really don't know how to commentate it. Or, oh yeah, he took the sign. That happens in vanilla. And VirtuaCat losing the purple chest reward for now, and maybe for good. With Flute, it's not too hard. But one thing I was going to say is that a lot of people don't seem to know that you don't have to do the mirroring to the locksmith first thing after ditching that purple chest. As long as you don't leave the dark world, you can do all of Hype Cave, and so that would have opened up a little opportunity for maybe slightly better routing.
And Hype Cave only giving out a full heart refill just because of VirtuaCat getting the last piece of heart. So 10 out of 10 Hype Cave. I'm being totally serious about this.
Ooh, Stylesetter getting grabbed by that wall master from the knockback. Not kind of costly, actually, given that there's no half magic, and this is not as easy to do with Fire Rod if you don't have half magic.
So VirtuaCat is going out of their way to get the purple chest skin, and this is something I totally understand. Just getting the purple chest, getting that purple chest.
No, it looks like they're going to Skull Woods, which I
taking the long route like that, I probably would have just put a fluted there.
Yeah, I would have mirrored and fluted. Getting a look at Bumper Ledge, we'll see. VirtuaCat has a lot of reason to go to Graveyard Ledge because you can route in King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks with it, since we have that mirror.
And that's exactly what VirtuaCat's going to do, as Stylesetter is on the Mopula fight.
I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Stylesetter take exactly this route after Skull Woods. But as far as progression goes, we still don't have any logical access to the Eastern Dark World, and we're down to only a couple more checks. There's the back of Thieves Town, which we just hope isn't hammerlocked in that case. Purple Chest, Magic Bat, and then these last two that VirtuaCat's doing now. VirtuaCat did opt to skip the Lumberjack check, and running out of options before Aga at this point, logical options before Aga, I would definitely have checked it there with the mirror and having the boots already.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There is Mire and Desert left, which are both possibly full clearable, provided Mire has Quake access. I still would have checked Lumberjack there, if choosing to do this route.
And I'd still stand by my normal opening where I get the Lumberjack.
Ooh, Hammer in King's Tomb. That is huge. Maybe not too huge because it looks like Stylesetter is fast on the trail. So Aga is dead. So logically and actually. Ooh, Stylesetter is skipping those checks. So it might be a while till we get that hammer.
Yeah, and so I like what I do really like what VirtuaCat did with them going over to the back before going to going over to Skull Woods, they opted to take those checks that's next to the Sanctuary of the Dark World, and it worked out for them. So, because that's the hammer, and I think I can imagine if VirtuaCat wants to press their luck, they could go through the entirety of Thieves Town.
Right now, I'm a little bit surprised that neither runner has seen fit to check out what Mire area holds. With that mirror and mitts and having desert be full clearable, regardless, I'm really surprised to see them both doing things like Smith Chain before even looking at Mire. Yeah, VirtuaCat getting bailed out took the fall into that front right hole, which, if there's not a key in there, as there used to always be, for precisely that reason, you have to save and quit to be able to get out.
Yeah, because that is a soft lock.
Yeah, and if the runners weren't already, despite still having green mail, they do have 11 hearts and tempered and silvers. So if you can get into Mire, that is also an easy full clear with this equipment, as pointed out in chat.
So Stylesetter did pick up the magic bat, and that was just a heart container. And VirtuaCat is making their way towards the Mafia fight.
Ooh, okay. I was very worried for a minute that Stylesetter was going to go straight to Bonkrox and King's Tomb. Oh, never mind. Hammer was in King's Tomb, so it wouldn't have mattered. But
right, because Stylesetter would be able to pick that up in the light world without having to mirror from the dark world.
Yeah, our tracker pointing out that depending on medallions, Virtua could already be in go mode, and it'll be interesting to see if their decisions change based on knowing that. So far, playing it pretty safe, going back into Skullwoods, full clearing for that second item. Oh yeah, we do the flippers are still at large.
Yeah, and that is necessary for Swamp Palace. And VirtuaCat opted taking the top route instead of going to the bottom. Something I don't normally do.
It's only a little slower, but with the amount of health they have, I don't know. I'd take the lower route. Also, it's a little faster if you know you're going to check that chest anyway and have mirror to just do it first in mirror, because it saves you the screen transition of going in and out of Skull Woods. Now,
the biggest
Stylesetter forgetting can't do it this way. So both runners pretty horrifically orphaning that purple chest.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is kind of, I don't know how to feel about this one.
Well, this seems to me like neither of them perfectly understands the glitch. VirtuaCat tried multiple times to mirror directly on top of Gary, and Stylesetter mirrored before running instead of after. So this seems like something that they recently learned how to do, and it just slipped without a mentor there. And that is something to notice again. For any who don't know, week 3 is a mentorless week, so runners are on their own during the race. We can still interact with mentors during the week, but but at that time, like during race time, they're on their own, so we have to figure it out. And Stylesetter getting our 4th sword in Meyer's shed. We'll likely have butter after they finish off here, because it would be very unlikely that they completely orphan Agina in that case.
That is true.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say that is a true situation for the case, because I could totally see Stylesetter picking up the gold sword here after doing what we did find out, that Meyer and Desert is readily available because Meyer is Quake. So that is something to consider for Stylesetter if he wants to go and do route those both together. VirtuaCat now taking the purple chest over, and the Book of Adora is picked up from there.
Ooh, that is one of my least favorite things to find in the purple chest. I had a I don't want to get too deep into personal anecdotes, but having Hammer on Bombo's tablet with book and purple chest, when you have mirror and flute to just fly there, you orphan your portal spot and you just hope Bombos is nothing. And when it isn't, that's too bad. That would have been a very good thing to have the first time you did all these checks. Meanwhile, we're getting our first look at Desert. It is completely boots locked, with the big key being on the torch.
Yeah, and to bounce off the idea of what happened earlier, Vertex, considering that the book was on the purple chest, had both players done the purple chest glitch, they would have been able to get the Bombos tablet right away.
So orphaning purple chest for both runners meant that they orphaned Bombos tablet. And Ether tablet. Well, no, Ether tablet. Well, yeah, VirtuaCat has orphaned Ether tablet, as mentioned earlier, because they have only Ether tablet and Spike Cave, both a lot of time investment for a one-off check, or two-off, as the case may be. But Stylesetter finding the first item in Desert, which is just a piece of heart. VirtuaCat opening up Meyer right away.
And this is something I agree with. Getting ready in both Meyer and Desert while you're already there makes tons of sense.
Yeah, Bombos won't be bad as long as it's not flips, as Wimpy says in chat, which is true. But if it is flips, that's going to be a little while.
Yeah, if the flippers did show up on the Bombos tablet, it does reinforce the fact that if had both players done the purple chest glitch, they would have picked up the flippers earlier on, if in that particular scenario.
Since neither did, though, it kind of open things up a lot, because it's going to be probably roughly the same amount of time till either runner gets back there. Given that both of them skipped it, it's going to affect both of their decisions roughly the same way.
Stylesetter taking down the Lamolus and picks up 20 rupees, so nothing really of worth in Desert Palace other than a crystal.
Yeah, crystal clearing crystal dungeons makes a lot of sense right now. I wouldn't put off Pod for much longer after finishing Meyer and Desert. A go mode pod can be nice if the key layout's very nice, but so often you don't get a nice key layout, and five items is a lot to pass up. And if you can save yourself a mountain trip by finding flippers in pod, that is certainly preferable. Still looking for that elusive first item in Mire.
So it's going to show up in this next chest coming up, or not? Excuse me, that'd be the compass chest.
I believe we VirtuaCat skipped the cutscene chest, hoping to avoid it, but we'll have no such luck today.
Right. Cutscene chest, I can totally understand skipping because it's quite a long cutscene to get through.
So Stylesetter does have a little opportunity to make up some time by routing in that cutscene chest early and getting to skip that whole return to the right side that VirtuaCat just did.
Yeah, and it depends on whether when you feel like wanting to skip out. If you either want to skip the purple chest or skip the cutscene chest, sorry, or not. I personally would say don't skip it. Just do it while you're in the same route because you're already there, and it's better to just get it out of the way as opposed to coming back for it.
Yeah, Stylesetter is quick running out of options, and I would expect at this point, not having done the boots checks, it might be a little bit more enticing to just check out that northern Dark World area, having Mirror and boots to check out those before going up the mountain. But yeah, not having Hammer is definitely something that will hurt Stylesetter more and more as the race goes on. VirtuaCat is flippers away from Go mode, potentially, provided Turtle Rock is also Quake. But at most 2 items, and Stylesetter needs to find that Hammer relatively quickly.
So, VirtuaCat on the back of back of Misery Mire, I am not doing so hot today. I'm keeping a mental note in my mind right now is because both players opted to use powder to get the safety, which isn't a bad idea, which isn't bad. I think both players did attempt to go for, did set up that spooky variable, but using that powder does remove that state.
But I understand the decision completely because death loses more time than spooky saves. So if the choice is being too low health to comfortably make it through that dark basement, or using spooky action, like I'd choose or not using spooky, I would choose not to use spooky.
And I personally wouldn't do spooky in this particular situation either, considering that we're still looking for go mode. I probably would use spooky more so if I'm in go mode and if I'm in go mode and I find that the Mire key logic, Mire keys aren't really in a terrible spot. So, i.e. things like in a God Mire or a semi-God Mire with the big key in the upper firelock chest.
Yeah, spooky does save time regardless of where you do it, as long as you are confident in your ability to stay at enough health to not need to use powder if that's an option, or what have you. But I don't believe Stylesetter will be able to do it because he did use the mirror to do Desert first and didn't re-portal to Mire, I don't believe.
That I believe is correct, because you would have the way that you would have to do it is that you would have to go Mire first if you wanted to do spooky and not mirror out of the light world. Oh, and actually, as one of our Restreamer Oro points out in the chat, you're able to kick up dust to preserve your spooky state before you use your powder, so that way you can retain that spooky state.
Frankly, I have enough trouble consistently kicking up dust to place the Samaria block, so I understand that in a tournament setting where a lot of people are less confident in their abilities, it makes a lot of sense to just go with what you're comfortable with and try to execute your preferred strategies to the best of your ability.
One thing that I learned when I was doing the preservation of spooky is that you can use the ice rod and while the ice rod is still in the air, you can place your Samaria block down, and that will preserve your spooky state. You can also do it with a fire rod, but it's a little bit trickier as the fire rod is a faster projectile compared to the ice rod.
So with that, Stylesetter is the first to 4 crystals and is about, in raw time amount, exactly a King's Tomb check ahead in time, but unfortunately for him, that is exactly what he needs to do to find the hammer. About to check Agina and get the butter sword, but it'll remain to be seen whether he checks King's Tomb before going up the mountain.
Okay, so VirtuaCat takes down the Lamb Molus, and Stylesetter have looted over to 3.
Is making the play, I think, that they need to be making. Unless he's deciding that he's going to clear Thieves Town without the hammer. This looks like a North Dark World check. Yeah, and that is what he's doing. No, he's going back for the purple chest. I don't understand this choice at all.
Yeah, this one's an interesting call because you're going out of your way for a one-off check, and that is with the book, and that's with the book, which you could have done a little bit earlier on when you were doing the purple chest for the first time.
Looks like he's leaving nothing to chance this time. Not gonna dash. Not gonna mirror and flute. Just gonna straight up walk it.
So we're in a interesting little crossroads. So if Stylesetter needs to head back over to King's Tomb for the hammer, which Stylesetter he's been missing for quite a while, and VirtuaCat with already hammer in hand going into pod, which makes a lot of sense.
But Stylesetter's routing, just playing it super safe and not leaving anything to chance, with not knowing how to do that, does give him the opportunity to check Bombos, which could work in his favor if it's flippers.
Yeah, this could be an important decision for Stylesetter. So
just 20 rupees. So VirtuaCat lucking out. As we get our first real look into pod, just keys so far.
This one will. This one should be a key for a key if I'm counting my keys right. Yeah.
A little confused as to what Stylesetter. Oh, Stylesetter never checked Hype Cave. About to be disappointed, but
VirtuaCat opting to head further back the bow-locked area of Pod with these mimics. To answer a question in chat from DJ Darkwing D, it was just 20 rupees on the Bombos tablet, which hurts for Stylesetter, because Stylesetter did this purple chest completely out of the way, which got the book.
Unfortunately, he is heading up the mountain with everything he might, possibly everything he might need, assuming Turtle Rock is also Quake. Everything he needs except for the hammer to full clear Turtle Rock, and nearly everything he would want.
Yeah, Stylesetter needs to head back over to King's Tomb in order to get that hammer, and with Stylesetter leaving out that King's Tomb check, essentially just orphaning it off. He has been orphaning it off. VirtuaCat is able to do this pod play in hopes of finding the flippers here, and that would put him in a almost go mode situation.
I think if Stylesetter finds the flippers up here, he's not in the worst spot he could be in. He can't do Spike Cave. He will probably make the play into Hera and do Ether Tablet, but will be funneled into King's Tomb fairly early. And we'll get the chance to possibly go mode Pod, though I don't know if the big key has been in a favorable position for that. I think Stylesetter almost needs to find the flippers up here, with nothing in Pod of value to be to have a good shot at bringing this back.
Yeah, given the way that Stylesetter has been routing this, Stylesetter would have to, as you pretty much mentioned, you would have to pull off a miracle in order for this to be worth anything. And Hookshot Cave so far hasn't really paid off much. No, just a red boomerang, and that's it.
I think you need to take 2 trips to the mountain, or need to take 2 trips to the mountain in order for this to be to pay off. Turtle Rock is also Quake. Stylesetter opting to skip Ether Tablet and Hera. This is a good choice. Given what we know, it could be that flippers are on Ether Tablet and Stylesetter just... this... I don't know if this is faster.
It isn't.
Yeah, than just running across. Maybe just forgot after saving and quitting and cutting losses right now, which I guess isn't the worst thing in the world, but yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's correct. When you no, you don't need the hammer because you just run across the Dark Death Mountain and mirror after you're past the spot where you need the hammer.
Yes, because that's why I'm saying that it is slower to do that. And
just a heart container, and we're gonna see the Hera play. Yeah, this is quite unfortunate. Given that the flippers cannot be in Ice Palace, I don't see any way that VirtuaCat doesn't find them first at this point. And given that Quake is the required Turtle Rock medallion, this is a pretty commanding lead.
Yeah, of course, VirtuaCat wouldn't know about this, so I don't know how VirtuaCat will react to that particular situation. But VirtuaCat knocks down the Helmut Arcane.
Well, what does VirtuaCat have left at this point? After Pod, the Folkleer, did the Eastern Folkleer, Desert, Mire.
Thieves Town.
I think all that's really left, is Thieves Town and Pyramid Fairy into Pyramid into Catfish is the play that I would expect to see VirtuaCat make here.
You're in the area, and I totally agree. I'm in agreement with this. You're in the area, and Pod was the 156 crystal. Actually, no, Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock is one of the.
Oh, it's the
crystals.
other. Yeah, never mind. Yeah.
So I'd see more sort of. I see him.
Pyramid into Catfish.
Pyramid to Catfish
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, this is what they're gonna do. That makes a lot of sense considering that TR happens to be the other 5/6 crystal, and you don't have the other one. It's such an out of the way spot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, so.
So for VirtuaCat, Oro in chat said that Turtle Rock and Dark Death Mountain is definitely the play. I think just because even if in VirtuaCat's mind, Quake is not the Turtle Rock medallion, there's a good chance it's up there, and you have that knowledge at this point. And if you get to single dip Turtle Rock, full clear it, looking for the flippers, whatever, then you can combine Pyramid Fairy with Pyramid and Catfish, and you've pretty efficiently cleared out the world. So yeah, this is, I don't know, an overly safe play, but at this point, VirtuaCat probably just is really hoping to avoid that double climb of the mountain, and if it works out, it'll be just fine for them. Stylesetter looking in stunned silence at that hammer for a second, planning the next move.
Yeah, and Stylesetter could have picked that up. Probably thinking, I could have picked it up a long time ago, but it happened. What happened, and now Stylesetter is going to be on pace to try and get back into this race.
Not sure the rationale for doing. I suppose Stylesetter is planning on doing Pyramid into Pod, but at this point, finding the hammer that late, you're behind, and you just want to get into not even doing Pyramid. So not fluting to 5 confuses me a little bit.
I'm seeing VirtuaCat looking into Lumberjack Ledge right away. It is bomb, so the Aga scare is completely gone now.
One of the longest-lived Agas I can think of, actually. But now it is all but confirmed that flippers are in Turtle Rock or Pyramid Fairy.
It could also be in Thieves Town.
Back at Thieves Town, that's true. I do keep forgetting.
Yeah, because both players have not. Both players either did the front of Thieves Town or did not go into Thieves Town, period.
I think, just hypothetically, if I'm making checks before going up Dark Death Mountain, and my choices are Pyramid and Catfish, or a completely uncleared Thieves Town, as is the case for VirtuaCat, because they did not even dip the front, I believe. I'm a little surprised that they chose Pyramid and Catfish. That said, I think the correct choice is probably still to just head up the mountain and see what you can see. But
yeah, and I think this is the I can concur with you. This is the right play to make. You have 5 items in. You have 5 items. It's technically 6 if you want to count in Mimic Cave. Okay, I like this too. VirtuaCat, knowing that there is a tree pole on the right side foot, and you can be able to pull that to get that tree pole.
with both rods, I don't know. Do you go into Turtle Rock and then only look at this stuff if Hookshot and Super Bunny if you don't find what you're looking for? I don't know. Being able to full clear Turtle Rock, I'm a little surprised to see them play this safe. Like, it's, I don't know. The difference in time between Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave has to be the difference between full clearing Turtle Rock and go moding it, I think.
Personally, I think doing the Dark Death Mountain checks while you're in the area is fine enough in itself. Besides, you're going to be ending up. If you do it either Turtle Rock first, then Dark Death Mountain, or vice versa, it really doesn't matter how you slice it. You'll still be entering Turtle Rock anyway.
Irritable Penguin in chat with the very good point that could be apt to forget them after finishing.
That's also a good point too. If you forget to do those checks, you orphan those off, and it doesn't feel good to go back up to Dark Death Mountain if you are still if you're last locationing everything and you find what you need in there. It's never a good feeling. So here we go. This is the Turtle Rock play for VirtuaCat, and Stylesetter is now in pod. Now that Stylesetter has that hammer.
Yeah, and at this point, it's not a question of if VirtuaCat will find the flippers on the path they're on. It's a matter of when they'll find the flippers. I believe we've seen everything else. VirtuaCat using the wrong cane to try to lay a block there.
A totally forgivable mistake there.
We have not seen Spike Cave. I would imagine that we will see VirtuaCat clear Ether and Spike Cave after Turtle Rock, before going to Pyramid Ferry.
Now I can appreciate what VirtuaCat is trying to do with this chomp room. The chomp room in general is a tricky room to navigate, considering that the chain chomps do a considerable amount of damage. Probably I think the highest damage that's not a boss.
Yeah, I believe it's 4 hearts on green mail, which both runners are still on, despite the very large number of checks they've both done. I believe the skulls also do 3 or 4. Pokies do 3, I think.
but they do have that powder, so excuse me. They have that powder, so they're able to.
4.
They're able
The
to.
skulls.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I interrupted. He got hit by one of the, or they got hit by one of the skulls and did four hearts. So that answers that.
Okay, yeah. But these, yeah, Turtle Rock is not a, is they Turtle Rock's enemies is pretty lethal. There's the Ether Medallion from VirtuaCat over in the lava chest. Of course, completely not really necessary now because we do know that both Meyer and Turtle Rock require the Quake.
VirtuaCat picking up that ether a little too late to do a bird toss in Meyer, but
And even then, really, it's the Quake was required for Misery Meyer, so it doesn't really matter. VirtuaCat's going to now do the Mimic Cave, as Stylesetter put one shot into the Crystal of Helmus Arcane that automatically knocks it down. Only 5 rupees in that Mimic Cave. Okay, so VirtuaCat does need to pick up does need to find some sort of magic here, because VirtuaCat does is out of magic for now, and looks like he won't be able to pick it up. So VirtuaCat would
hope for half magic in this chest, and
yes, half magic would. If half magic shows up in that chest, VirtuaCat is bailed out. Otherwise, he needs to restart. He's got to restart.
I think,
and
I
doesn't have a green
might
potion.
consider actually doing a mirror. Well, I don't know. Mirroring to the front of the dungeon is probably, or you can't mirror to the front of the dungeon. Given that you came in there, I might leave a mirror spot up by Spyro Cave. It's not anywhere near as common of a spot to leave a portal, but I think VirtuaCat might have already picked up all the magic drops along the way here. I suppose if you leave the dungeon and come back, they're back, so...
Now, this is a room you don't normally see because there's no really need for it, but hoping to find something there. Please don't open up. So VirtuaCat would need to, as one of our chat members points out from actually GFE, he's gonna have to go back to the double Pokey room to get some magic.
And with better magic management, Stylesetter could make up an awful lot of time due to that unfortunate mistake from VirtuaCat. Definitely not out of the race yet. Has a ways to go, but there is a lot of ground to be made up.
Yeah, and VirtuaCat, VirtuaCat did opt to use the Burna on the Chain Chomp room, which is why VirtuaCat has that little of magic to worry about. So So VirtuaCat will pick up the full magic that's in the right side of the refill room, this little refill spot, and now on the way to the laser bridge.
So where do you think we're going to see the flippers? Do you think it's going to be on Laser Bridge, Trinex, or have to wait till Pyramid Fairy?
I would say Pyramid Fairy. If it doesn't show up in Pyramid Fairy, it
you're
has
a
to.
pessimist.
Now, it could show up here. I'm not counting this out. But if it could show up, if it's not here and it's not on Trinex, it shows up on Pyramid Fairy. If it doesn't show up there, then it happens to, and it would have to be Thieves Town, back at Thieves Town.
Here I am forgiving Thieves Town again.
Yeah, because both players have yet to go back into Thieves Town, and for good reason. They have no other reason to go back there. So, last chest. It's Blue Mail.
Not an unwelcome sight with Trinex coming up, but I think I speak for both runners when I say that I would rather see flippers at that point in the Blue Mail.
That is true. So, Stylesetter now going to do the chain chomp room, opting to take the safe route compared to the overrun, but does take a hit by the chain jump that knocks them down. It's gonna have to go through that first sequence of rooms all over again.
Yeah, Stylesetter, it's not a death you want to take, and I imagine he's feeling pretty behind already with that late locationing hammer, but that is about the last place you can die before it becomes pretty unfortunate entering Turtle Rock again from the outside.
VirtuaCat finishes off the first phase of Trinex, about to take out this third and final one, does so. And it's just
Ooh. So down to 2 checks.
Here we go.
Before Thieves Town. And if it is Thieves Town, Stylesetter has taken, perhaps, has made up some more ground simply because the front 4 checks are already done for Stylesetter. Whereas VirtuaCat will be looking for all of them.
It depends on how Stylesetter is going to play this Turtle Rock out.
Chat pointing out again that I keep forgetting checks, and Spike Cave is here first.
Yeah, this is a fair one, especially now late in the game where you have a position, or you're in a position to check this now, as opposed to later when you are doing this. I don't really understand. I wouldn't normally pull out the Burna this later on, but I get, considering that you have like plenty of magic to work with in there, I think it's fair. You'd be able to dash to it, but just 300 rupees. So Pyramid Fairy and Thieves Town.
VirtuaCat skipping Ether Tablet, probably just forgot about it, but a little surprising to see.
But but in my eyes, I think it's a better skip because we know it's nothing.
I mean, you Ether Tablet costs almost nothing to check before Spike Cave. Just the mirror transition time and a little walking. But orphaning it off is a very risky choice when you've already been up there for Hera.
Right, and that is something too. Yeah, I could have seen if VirtuaCat maybe would have won for Ether Tablet beforehand.
So I feel fairly comfortable. I think the game is on the line here for both runners. If Stylesetter makes the call to go directly to Pyramid Fairy after Turtle Rock, which seems likely, and whichever of these places is the answer, the runner there will have a very commanding lead.
Yeah. In this situation, if VirtuaCat finds the flippers in Thieves Town, in the back of Thieves Town, then VirtuaCat has the commanding lead. If Stylesetter decides, let's go for Pyramid Fairy, because we already had cleared out Pod, then they have the commanding, or then Stylesetter has the commanding lead. Alright, VirtuaCat now in the back of Thieves Town. And Stylesetter is going to take the safety door in the laser bridge. I totally understand this if Stylesetter is not comfortable with doing laser skips.
Even if you are comfortable, you're at very low health and very low magic. It makes a lot more sense, rather than trying to waste a potion, even if you find everything here, to maybe take a quick death to refill your health. Save the potions for the Trinex fight.
And does take a death there, which, again, nothing really to be concerned about, considering that Stylesetter took the safety door. But it's using... Okay,
using all the magic.
So this puts Stylesetter in this interesting case. So Stylesetter gets the blue mail. Actually, no. What am I saying? There's not really interesting case here. Stylesetter will get the magic refill before going over the Trinex, and he'll be okay. I don't know what I was saying there.
I imagine he'll probably opt to either take a blue potion or walk in here.
There
after,
it is. There it is. VirtuaCat finds the flippers in the maiden chest, and VirtuaCat is now in go mode at 131 and changed.
Putting off Thieves Town entirely, paying off for VirtuaCat. I can't imagine that they would have made the same play if they had dipped the front four, and I would be shocked to see Stylesetter do the same thing. VirtuaCat choosing to flute to 7 instead of 4. It is a little slower to do that, though it might seem counterintuitive if Swamp is your destination, but we'll be in Swamp in short order. How many items were in the front of Thieves Town? I know none of them were worth anything, but how many were there?
I
can't have been more than 2.
I didn't see. Given the way that I saw it, from what I saw brief glimpses of it, I think I saw brief glimpses of a map. Yeah. There was not a lot to really. I just saw there was just not a lot of items in the front, and I could that's why I maybe think, well,
okay,
if with the small key in the front, and then there's and with all the other stuff there, it's likely that it's likely that the big chest would have been a concern at that time.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to duck out if you only get one item. But I think it was... I believe the small key was in the front as well, because I noticed that when VirtuaCat went in. And Stylesetter making the unfortunately incorrect choice to bank on Pyramid Fairy before back at Thieves Town. Perfectly understandable choice.
Yeah, it's just not the right one to make. And this, and that's a testament to how VirtuaCat opted to go for the Thieves Town play. And I totally understand it. You have Pyramid Fairy open after clearing Turtle Rock. VirtuaCat could have totally done the Pyramid Fairy first and waited until Thieves Town was later on. But given how VirtuaCat routed this out, did this late game, opting to say, I don't think it's Pyramid Fairy, turned out to be the right answer, and Stylesetter is going to have to, first and foremost, he's going to have to do Pyramid Fairy. He does the pyramid. He could end up doing Catfish as well, both of which VirtuaCat had picked up. The cape and 10 bombs are in the Pyramid Fairy, and a red potion from the Pyramid Fairy themselves.
Yeah, and for Stylesetter, this makes a lot of sense, because this is three relatively quick checks, and then a fourth, slightly slower one. Thieves Town is... for Stylesetter is 3 relatively slow checks. So from a check density perspective, this makes a lot of sense. VirtuaCat kind of tipping the scales in their favor by taking the ultra safe play of checking Pyramid and Catfish before going to Turtle Rock, and kind of orphaning Pyramid Fairy.
And that ended up being what put VirtuaCat ahead, and VirtuaCat now going to do finishing up the Argus fight. This will be a pretty quick one with the silver arrows. This will be a one-shot, one kill. Just need to line that up. And down goes the Argus, and that will be VirtuaCat's 7th and final crystal. And I'm pretty sure everyone knows what that all means. 1 to 22. Put your guesses in the chat if you want to participate in the guessing game, where we find that big key in Ganon's Tower in 1 to 22 spots. And Vortex, what do you think that is going to be for your prediction?
I usually like to guess pretty low. I think I'll put a 5 in this time. Let's leave it at that.
I'll play it a bit longer, and I'll say 12.
Did Stylesetter check King's Tomb for the hammer without the mirror earlier, and is going back for Graveyard Ledge now? Looks like it.
Yes.
That's really unfortunate. Just a bigger gap. Making the safe plays when you're... Like, obviously, if Graveyard Ledge was the answer... Actually, I'm not convinced that Graveyard Ledge wouldn't be nearly as fast to check after Thieves Town as going from Catfish. Obviously, it's objectively sooner if it's the answer, but I don't know. It's... Thieves Town is more checks faster, I think. Opting not to go back into the Dark World portal. Oh no, checking Lumberjack. Oh, Bonk Rocks. Wow. I suppose, yeah, because Stylesetter went straight to King's Tomb, checked that first, and after getting the hammer, had bigger fish to fry than Bonk Rocks.
Yeah, and if Stylesetter
really biting him now, though.
Yeah, Stylesetter not checking Lumberjack Ledge, which is fine. But now Stylesetter needs to it's gonna make his way over towards Village of Outcasts, dive into Thieves Town, and will be in go mode. Alright, August are now closed as VirtuaCat now enters GT, going towards the Hope Room first. Number 1 is 10 arrows, and number 2 is a map we're forced to go towards the left side because there is no key there. Number 3 is 20 rupees. And Stylesetter now heading back into Thieves Town. Going to be heading towards the back and will eventually get the flippers from off of the main chest. Number 4, 5, nothing. 6 is a key, and 7 is another key.
That's past my guess.
And number 7 is Bombos.
So finally, all 3 medallions are in our grasp.
Not like it entirely matters, but nice to have nonetheless. This should be number 9. And that is just a key.
Ten through 13 coming up.
This is 10.
And it will be in here because if you find a small key in Rando room, or in the compass room, actually, the big key will be in that same room.
So I have it to tie, actually. Once we got the actual results in from the bots, so technically it's a tie between myself and Airbill Penguin, but Airbill Penguin gets the points given the bot. Because Airbill Penguin happened to be the one who actually was first on the bots compared to how I put it in there. But that is going to be 10 points for Irritable Penguin on the bots. Congrats to Irritable Penguin. And technically, if you want to get a little bit, if you want to be a little bit more technical, we could say they both won because of Price is Right rules. Closest without going over, but that's completely irrelevant most of the time. So, VirtuaCat now gets start the gauntlet.
Not going for that safety room. I guess with Butter, Blue Mail, you don't feel like you need the hearts. I think they do have a potion, perhaps. Maybe they're just hoping they can get to that Bunny Beam room and powder them to get a quick refill. Okay, they do have potions. At least one.
Alright, VirtuaCat's about to fight the Lamb Molus 2.
Ooh, misses the one cycle, but snipes from a distance to get the easy 2-cycle.
On to my favorite set of rooms in the entire game, the Wizard set, which is probably one of my favorite ones because of just how satisfying it is to pull it off. Does a different route, the different method of doing the dark of the Wizard 2, opting to go for the 2-cycle and not the 1-cycle.
Could have just missed the 1-cycle too.
That too, yeah. Missing the 1-cycle does lose you a bit of time if you know how to perform it, but it's still a fun set of rooms regardless.
Yeah, 2-cycling. Ooh, that bonk over the pit, also quite satisfying. I never do that one though.
Nah, I don't ever want to do it because I risk falling, so it's not really worth it in my opinion. Especially if I'm in a close race, I often want to play safe if I have the chance to. And besides, I intend to do the normal route anyway.
A nice diver down that we glossed over from Stylesetter. We did not see that trick from VirtuaCat.
And down goes Moldrum 2 for VirtuaCat. It looks pretty much loaded, in my opinion, and just a compass in that Moldrum 2 chest and
was
showing
prepared to bomb the chest just for fun.
Yeah, just for show. So a mix between how Fred does the Moldrum 2 and pretty much if you were to pull it. On to Aga 2. Got a nice double from VirtuaCat. Does miss a cycle. Missing another cycle. Normally when I do Aga 2, how I do Aga 2 is I would hold out my sword in the direction of where Aga is going to be facing, and then also in a decent spot where the patterns would play out, and then just back away and spin. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. What I normally do is have my sword facing in a direction that makes no sense at all, and get one spin and then get hit by the next two as they come in. It's a little more unconventional, but it works for me.
Yeah, having facing the direction of Aga, where you in a spot where it would make sense when there's a good pattern or a good situation, it does give you a bit more. It gives you a bit more blue balls to deal. Not a bit more hits on Aga, considering. But other than that, though, we're on the Ganon fights. We have a Gold Sword Doubleless fight, so this shouldn't be a big issue. VirtuaCat gonna pull out that Biburna to get some, just to be a little bit safe here. And has a blue potion at the ready, gonna pop that.
Leaving nothing to chance.
On to phase 3. Just 2 more hits to go into phase 4. And on to phase 4. Preparing to get the silver arrows out to eliminate Ganon once and for all. Got hit by the fire bat. Obviously just does not care about torch glitch, just considering the silvers.
Ooh, just missing the shot.
But he does get a hit in now.
Might be able to get one more in.
Yeah, just needs one more hit. Ooh,
almost took a fall there. Trying to get that last hit in was... And this will be the fourth hit.
and that'll do it. Get your GGs in the chat for VirtuaCat, and we'll get the official race time GG time as soon as VirtuaCat crosses that bridge, and VirtuaCat will take the win over in first place with an official SRL time, or not official SRL time, sorry, an official race time GG time of 1:49:38.
Meanwhile, Stylesetter heading through GT. Looks like he is continuing to go left, which will pan out for him. We'll see if VirtuaCat is up for an interview.
So with this win up for VirtuaCat will go 2-1, and Stylesetter will go to 1-2. And VirtuaCat will be joining us in for an interview. We'll just bring him up in a couple of seconds here.
We are joined by VirtuaCat, the winner of this race. GG.
Hello, and thank you. Did you guys know that you can get the thief as a follower? Because I didn't.
Yeah, that was pointed out by Oro, our restreamer, that that happens even in vanilla if you pick up the sign. The sign clearly says not to touch it.
Oh,
and
okay.
He will dog your every step for as long as you're on that screen.
I thought I just did something weird and wacky.
Yeah, mirroring into him was dangerous, and certainly went odd, but it all worked out in the end for you. How are you feeling about the seed?
I'm feeling good. It's the one time like I didn't enter a pendant thieves town in a while. It was like it was done 4 times now, pal. That there was nothing in there, and then that was regular mode down there.
Yeah, it was really interesting. What was how was the decision made to go into Thieves Town instead of following up on Turtle Rock? And the Pyramid Ferry that you had open after that is what I meant to say.
I didn't mark it on my tracker.
Huh. Well, that certainly could have had far-reaching implications. Stylesetter was about half a Turtle Rock behind you. He found his hammer very late, and was made up a little time with your mad dash for magic in Turtle Rock, but it just came down to whether Thieves Town was the play or Pyramid Ferry was the play, and it turned out that Thieves Town was the play. So
yeah, I swear I thought there was like a magic pickup like right as you go down into the T-Rock dark room, and turns out there's not. No, it was T-Rock's always kind of been like one of those ones that I think is like harder than it actually is, and then this time it just goes to completely kind of try to mess me up.
Yeah, it's certainly the first time you run out of magic in Turtle Rock is an unfortunate Right before the Dark Maze. That's certainly a mistake that you remember for a while.
It is, and thankfully it wasn't a completely leave Toro Rock type of situation.
Right.
I was very happy that it was Quake. I went up there on the hopes that it was, and turns out it was, and I did that immediately after Hookshot Cave and Dark Death Mountain. Much like every other Ambrosia seed, everything started looking like Aga like within 6-7 minutes. Finding Lamp and Master Sword immediately in the Kakariko. But I decided to go to Eastern first after fighting that bow, and thankfully that worked out really well with the flute and the something was in there. Mirror?
Hookshot was in there.
Hookshot was in there, yeah. Eastern was a big play.
Yeah. Did you? Was there any thought that went into your decision to not follow those immediately up the mountain and instead finish off the more standard South Shore first? Was that just was that an autopilot move? Was that if something really good is in South Shore and my opponent did that first, like I go there, like what was there anything that went into that decision?
Hoping that I could find a item that could let me access Hera, basically.
Okay, yeah,
Hera,
that makes a lot of sense.
I always like to do Hera. It's fast. It is. I've had too many seeds where a pendant Hera had an item in it that was necessary, and I wanted to make sure to get that taken care of. Hoping that I found either Mirror or Hammer, and I found Mirror in I think that was in Paradox up there.
Yep, Mirror was in Paradox. It was. I also thought it was interesting, and you sort of explained this, that you went directly back up to Hera after finding that mirror, rather than back down. I suppose that all that was left was your was that shovel for your mitts and Agina and something else. Something else was left, I think, but it wasn't very good options.
Yeah,
so,
none of those were like great places to go check. I mean, Shovel was right there.
Oh, you hadn't done Zora yet at that point. That's what I was.
Yeah. I mean, now that Icebreaker is a thing, I think Ice Palace is probably my favorite dungeon to do, and I'm a little upset that I didn't even have a reason to go into it. I've been practicing Ice Palace a whole lot just because Cold Stare just kind of still gives me the willies. And, oh well, I will happily take a sword Armos and still win on that.
As Stylesetter's heading into his Aga 2 fight.
Yeah, this Aga 2 had some fun patterns. You had a really good double there early. Oh, you did great with it. And then you just got some weird ones after this second.
Stylesetter having a little more trouble, but not in any danger yet. So, how was your experience playing without a mentor, and what, did you focus on anything in particular this week, given that you weren't going to have one?
So I've had Trinex for both of my mentors for both races, and it's just so great not having him yell at me. But he really pointed out a lot of things that I don't do a lot of, like speed running or speed racing. I have enjoyed watching it. This is the first game that I really was like, I'm going to learn a lot of this stuff. and he spent one entire seed basically telling me every time that I was going to go grab a drop that I didn't need or killing an enemy that I didn't need. And I tried to focus on that kind of stuff a lot because that is something that is ingrained into me for 30 years of video games. That,
Right.
I need to pick up this 8-drop bomb. I have 9 bombs, but I need this extra 8. It's only going to give me 1. But no, he helped me out with some like really good routing things. In the first seed we played, it was a practice seed. He immediately was like, Moon Pearl is in Checkerboard Cave, because I got Mitts and Flute and Mirror really early before Moon Pearl, and he's like, it's there. And I still had like probably 20 or so other checks, and he was right. But he was a big help. Mentorless was a lot of fun. I mean, this game's fun. It's a fun game. That's why we're doing this.
Glad to hear it. Stylesetter did get the torch glitch and is setting up. Got 1 hit on Ganon. 2 more should finish off this fight. Fortunately, pulling that arrow a little early, but 1 more cleans it up. And Stylesetter finishes off Ganon and is... get your GGs in chat for Stylesetter.
And he will be finishing second once we get that time up. We'll be finishing second with the official racetime.gg time of 2 hours and 47 seconds. And we'll see if we can get Stylesetter in for an interview.
He was right there at that 2-hour mark. I think his the racer info sheet, he put that most of his seeds take around 2.5. And if this is a lower time for him, like that's super great for him. Like, I'm really proud of him.
And we're joined by Stylesetter. GG, man.
Yeah, GG to VirtuaCat as well.
Yeah, GG Stylesetter.
So, what did you think about the seed?
And we're joined
Sorry,
by
I didn't hear you.
GG, man.
What did you think about the seed?
Well, it was tough.
So, what did you think about
pendant dungeons? So could have saved some time by clearing a bit more in Thieves Town and finding the flippers earlier.
Yeah, that was both of your go mode. You guys were actually both in Turtle Rock at the same time. You were about half a dungeon behind that late with that late hammer. VirtuaCat had some trouble with magic usage in the earlier part of Turtle Rock, but the race really, in the end, came down to the decision of whether to go to Pyramid Ferry or Thieves Town immediately after Turtle Rock. And VirtuaCat actually made the choice to go directly to Thieves Town, and that's where a big portion of I imagine that they would have done many of the same checks you did. They routed in Graveyard Ledge, I believe, with finding that hammer, but the Pyramid and Catfish, actually they also did Pyramid and Catfish before heading to Turtle Rock,
okay.
had not dipped Thieves Town at all on their first trip to the village, so I think that made it a little more attractive of an option.
Yeah, after dipping it, it wasn't as attractive anymore to me, because
Right.
I already had 1 item out of Thieves Town. A nice routing, doing Pyramid Ferry first. To be honest, I could have done after finding catfish and then checking Pyramid Ferry, but I thought this would be more efficient in a way.
I think VirtuaCat was saying that you mentioned that a lot of your seeds are taking you 2.5 hours, and you finished in 2 flat. Is feeling pretty good about this one, or was it obviously would have preferred a win, I'm sure, but seems
Yeah,
like
I
a pretty
mean,
good time.
given I checked pretty much a lot of chests, finished still great. Means I improved over the tournament.
Were there times where you could sort of hear your mentor in your ear from the last couple weeks, either of the last couple weeks, maybe nudging you in a certain direction? Were there any decisions that you made with this one that were influenced by that? Have you have you learned anything so far?
Yeah, like little things, small key routing and pot. Unfortunately, I had to clear pot as a whole. I'm not sure whether I did a mistake or everything right, but I just had to clear it fully. All in all, he taught me how to do checks more efficiently, routing things in together and maybe delaying certain checks so it would be a nicer route later on.
Yeah, both of you guys showed very solid routing throughout. We may have criticized a decision or two, but like all of the decisions you made were understandable, and yeah, I think you guys should both be proud of how you played the seed. It was Flippers and Pendant Thieves Town is, it's something that, especially without the hammer early, you don't want to go in there. But yeah, it was a great seed, and I think you should both be proud of a job well done.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that, like, when you're thinking about routing, that I hope that a lot of us in this tournament are really learning, is that, yeah, you might be able to just know where everything is, like in terms of locations, but routing is a lot more than that, and that's kind of one big thing that I've picked up from working with TriNet.
So, as we're winding down this commentary, if you got any final thoughts about about this particular seed and how you've played, go ahead and sound off.
Black Lives Matter and trans rights.
I couldn't agree more. So if there are no further thoughts, okay. So for all of us here, be sure to give both our runners a follow. Put on a great race. Be sure to give our tracker a follow, BumRushBlitz, our restreamer Oro. I'm Vortex of Doom. Been here with ProfessorRenderer. It's been a pleasure commentating this race. I think we have one more up for restream today. That would be double checking here.
It's going to be at 9 o'clock. In that particular race, 9 o'clock, we do have a setup here.
Yeah. DJ Darkwing D versus Jossum Sauce. And that'll be at 9 Eastern. So be sure to tune in for that. But with that, I think that'll do it for us, and have a great rest of your day.